I am Harry Fergerstrom. I am the spokesperson for Nakapuna Moko Kiavi, which is a Kapuna organization with representatives from all 6 major districts of the island of Hawaii. I'm also a pre-contact religious spiritual leader of the Temple Lona. I'm also a Hiapunakoa o Pu'uko'olahiao, which translates to the firstborn warriors of the Temple of the Mound of the Whale. I have a great background on Mauna Kea. As a child, my father worked for the DLNR with the first with forestry and then fishing game. We are responsible for building all the cabins that go around the mountain, all the trees in. We raised the nene. We raised mouflon sheep until we had enough to put into the wild. It is the state of Hawaii who has made the assertion many times that the state of Hawaii has ownership and title to the sum of Mauna Kea. And so my next question would be an offer of proof. Don't tell me about it. Show me a mechanism of transfer. That land under the Great Mahele or the land division is the entire Ahapua of Kauai is Hawaiian government land. I don't believe anybody in this room, especially you clowns, are the Hawaiian government.
Do you assert that the state of Hawaii is the trustee or the administrator of the so-called ceded lands as designated under the Admissions Act?
Yes, as a matter of fact, under the 5F clause of the Admissions Act, the state of Hawaii is only a trustee. And as a trustee, it cannot be the owner.
And do you feel that the state as a trustee has inherent responsibilities?
Most certainly. Those responsibilities are clearly defined in the 5F clause. And when I talk about our mountain, I'm talking about those who practice the ancient religion who have reached that level that you are permitted to go there. I'm a temple trained person. I don't even feel like I have the right to just willy-nilly roam around. And so you must understand how harmful it is every time I see an astronomer go up there.
How harmful is it? Could you describe the harm that you feel?
I don't know. If you stuck me in the heart with a knife and twisted it every time, that'd be about that harmful.
Were you involved at all in the Keck Outrigger Telescope contested case hearing?
Yes, no, I was.
And so your participation goes back at least to 2003?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Do you remember going on the site visit into the Keck Observatory, one of the previous contested case hearings?
Yes, I do. Is that when they threw the mercury in the ground? Oh, not the mercury, but that.
The
What was
acid.
it? There was something that was so light it just danced across the floor. Is that the time you're speaking of?
I think so.
Yeah.
We were all there, though.
Yeah.
They have the mercury spill containment room, right?
Right, right.
Your question here is the question of title to the claim that the CDOA
Yes.
makes. Is that correct?
Yes, and I said this before, and so I don't know why it's being so objectionable. I am not bringing up a political question. I am bringing up a question of the mechanics of conveyance. Like any other bill of sale, since you claim to have ownership, to show a bill of sale. That's what I'm saying. And if you do, then I'd probably be quiet. But I happen to read law very well, and I don't think you have it, nor do I think you have any intentions of proving it to me, because you don't want to get caught. Not you yourself, but the state. And all these clowns over here that are doing this together. Sorry,
Sorry.
I just don't have a lot of respect for thieves.
Has DLNR, the University of Manoa, University of Hilo, Office of Mauna Kea Management, TMT, or TIO ever asked you to consult or confer regarding your practices on Mauna Kea?
No, however,
Okay.
it was during the time of the Keck Outriggers
Okay, yeah.
that, because, when you hear a Hawaiian talking about ancient religion, it becomes kind of like, really? What are you talking about? And so, and because mine is pre-contact religion, there's a question of First Amendment rights coming up, okay? And so because that question was, actually, Judge Walter Heen was assigned by Office of Mauna Kea Management,
Right.
and by NASA, who was paying for that EIS at that time, to go and find out what the heck am I talking about with the Temple of Honor. And without revealing
Yeah.
some personal stuff between the two of us, he understood emphatically that I knew what I was talking about and who my teacher was. So his report back was that, yes, this Temple of Honor is a for real deal. And it's something that they should consider. Did they consider it? Very lightly.
None of the TMT people that you have seen testifying here ever conferred with you?
No.
Did you participate in the Section 106 consultations under the NASA and Keck?
I would say yes, but I'm not really sure. And the reason I'm not sure is because, as you may remember, I went to jail for a year. And then my son had several heart attacks and was dying, and I had to take care of that for a year and a half after I got out of jail. So a lot of those things I could not participate with. I was caring for my handicapped child.
But you have actually testified on numerous telescopes and numerous hearings
Yes.
before the Board of Land and Natural Resource in the past.
Yes, ma'am.
And so no one from OMKM contacted you to confer or consult?
No, in fact, if anybody's reached out, it's been me. I mean, I've reached out several times to Kahu Kumana. I've bought extensive maps, much bigger than the ones that you see in my files, of many different types of religious ceremonies that are taking place on Mauna Kea by different organizations. And I brought that to their attention because it's really important to know that I'm not just the only guy. Okay, there's a whole lot of things. So you're not only violating me, you're violating many, many other people who are just as sincere as I am in the type of practices I do.
I'm going to go to criteria number 6. The existing physical and environmental aspects of the land, such as the natural beauty and open space characteristics, will be preserved or improved upon, whichever is applicable. Can this TMT project meet this criteria for CDUA?
Not even close.
How has this contested case proceedings affected your physical, mental, and emotional health thus far?
It's taken quite a toll. I'm not used to people standing around pissing in my face and expecting me to like it. And unfortunately, this is how this proceeding has been. And when you have all these guards standing around with guns allowing it to happen, I don't take kindly to that. So it's been hard because I have a lot of training, an awful lot of training. This is not something I would normally tolerate. But Keiko has asked me to do the best I can, and I'm trying. Day of the groundbreaking, yes, I was there the night before. I needed to let Keiko know that I knew there was a violation about to happen. I also I needed to do some prayers as to how to conduct myself during this this violation that I seen coming. And I also wanted to show an example to those parties that are not Hawaiian, like those parties who were involved with the groundbreaking, to show them the rainbow connection between, at this particular juncture, between Mauna Kea and Halakala. It was very interesting. We just happened to have the right conditions that day. Michael Lee, who previously testified, he was on one side and I was on the other side. It's really important when you're making bridges that you know where both sides are. And I also wanted to give them notice that they are trespassing on Hawaiian Kingdom property. Man, it was cold. 28 degrees. And I didn't have a heater in my car. By the way, they sent 4 different enforcement agencies up there to arrest me, of which the first 4 found no reason. There was nothing I was doing that was incorrect or improper. I wasn't even in the way. So they didn't feel like they had a reason to arrest me. It wasn't until the following morning that Wally Shibashi, the so-called cultural advisor for the Office of Mauna Kea Management, came to inform me that they didn't give a shit what my problem was, and they didn't care how they were going to violate me, that they were going to move me from that site, like it or not, and they were going to tow my truck down the hill for a minimum of $2,000. And I went, what? My rights don't count? Really? Geez, and all I wanted to do is show you this. And he touched it. I says, you've been noticed. And I talked to my friend by the way, we recorded every bit of it. So it is well documented what we were doing there and how we approached it and how we received the various enforcement agencies and why they decided that I was not violating anything that was actionable on their part. In that ramifications for failure to comply, I also noted that should they proceed, like they think they're going to do anyway, that when I get it back, which I will get it back, probably before they get it up, that they're going to have to suffer the loss because they're not going to get any compensation whatsoever for it. When Wally first got it, he got all scared. I mean, he got all nervous because he realized he actually touched the paper, he actually received the notice. So he took it down to the Halepoaku area where the scientists were all together. Apparently they had a big hoopla the night before in Hilo to show them what just happened, and they seemed to be very concerned that they just got a notice of trespass. And they were going to let me meet with them, and quite frankly, my job was done. They got the notice. I was freezing. And also to note, not one of them offered me a jacket.
Well, were you ever given an opportunity by the Office of Mauna Kea Management or the University of Hawaii to address the concerns that you had that day or the notice of trespass that they had
No,
given?
they never offered any. I offered myself up. I attended what was done by Canada France Telescope. They were doing this thing called Common Ground, which is a series of meetings around the islands. And I participated in that and talked about what my particular position was and why we were not pleased with what we were doing. So yes, I tried, and like I said, I gone to Kumana. I had also addressed the board for the University of Hawaii, Office of Mauna Kea Management Board. I should.
When you said that you issued trespass notices, whom did you provide those notices to?
To the Office of Mauna Kea Management.
Okay. Anyone
And
else?
they delivered it to the parties of the 30-meter telescope.
Okay. And your authority you had authority to issue these notices
Yes,
on behalf of whom?
Keokua.
And you decided who to issue these notices to?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I am the one who decided who.
Okay. So your testimony is that you basically decide who gets to go to the mountain or not.
That is not my testimony. That's yours.
Okay.
And that's a lawyer's trick.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Oh, then ask me a question that's actually a question and don't lead.
Well, sir, I get to ask the questions.
Really?
Sir, your testimony is that you decide who gets to go up to the mountain or not.
On occasion.
Thank you. Nothing further, Judge.
You had mentioned you have Kuleana for the northwest side of Mauna Kea. Can you elaborate the Kuleana if it's not, in some cases, kapu?
I have Kuleana in Wauokua. I am particularly interested in trying to save the last remnants of that sanctity that exists on the Northwest Plateau. Yes.
You are familiar with Article 12, Section 7, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I think in response to Ms. Kihoi's questions, you said that that constitutional section protects customary and traditional rights. Is that correct?
Supposed to, yes.
Okay. Would you agree with me that that constitutional section also says that the state has the right to regulate such rights?
Yes, I believe we covered that a little bit. At least that's your assertions.
Well, I'm just
Do I
asking.
think it's correct? No.
Okay. But you do agree with me that that's what the constitutional provision says?
Yes.
Now, were you aware of the environmental impact statement for this project prior to it being accepted in 2010?
I am not sure. And the reason I say that is because I had to deal with the death of my son for a period of time. And so I would go in and out of my involvement with Hawaiian things according to my son's needs.
As you sit here today, you cannot recall whether or not you did or did not receive a letter or letters from Cultural Service Hawaii in 2009 about the TMT project.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fergerstrom. No further questions, Your Honor.
I'd like to state for the record that I am not very pleased with this routine of knocking off one of my witnesses. I believe the University of Hawaii and all the other clowns here had ample opportunity to raise that objection in writing, and they could have made it very clear to me so I didn't have to come up with $300 for plane fare and transportation for Mr. Chang, not to mention the thousands of doors I beat down just to find out where he was. I think that was grossly unfair. I think you actually violated my rights doing that, but that'll all come out in the wash. I think this is a poor example of how a law is supposed to be done. I think myself that you, Ms. Amano, has done a very poor job of this contested case. It has been riddled with administrative bias. You somehow think yourself to be above everybody else just because you are a hearings officer, and that's all you are is a hearings officer. And that you've actually made my case. I mean, this is going to go to appeals, and you're going to lose. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just flat out blatant and apparent. I feel badly about that because you've taken a whole lot of people's time to go through this nonsense. And you have leaned it very strongly toward the petitioner, which is the University of Hawaii. You've allowed for some foreign entity called TIO in, who is not the applicant. And then you've also allowed for a cheerleading section that is not something that's allowed in a contested case. Your whole procedure for doing this case was done incorrectly, which was pointed out right off the bat. You held the first meeting in Honolulu, which was not in the rules. You didn't take the time to vet the parties. You simply put them in, and in that first hearing we had at the state office buildings, you did not take the time to vet people, but you did take the time to say that we were not parties yet, so we couldn't argue about it. And so I'm glad that you think you're funny, and we'll just have to see how it works out in the end. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. But other than that, I am very honored to be in the presence of all these Kanaka Maoli who stood up for what they believe in, and they did so without the urge or prompt of anybody else. They did so because they're na'au told them to do so. That's remarkable. I'm really proud to be amongst you folks, and I'm proud that you guys took it seriously and that you held your grounds. And I am, again, I've been at this for 45 years. I have not been in such great company. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fergerstrom. You're excused.
Thank you.